Joe Eichstead, the city engineer.
Paul Vollert, Public Works Superintendent.
Madeline Palmquist, District 8 Chairperson.
Dennis Pollock, District number 6.
Jeff Benskover, District 4 Alderman.
All right, and we've got an excused absence with Ryan Austin and Dennis sitting in graciously for us this evening, calling the meeting to order at 5 p.m. Item number 2 is to review the street engineering and street department monthly report. Paul, you usually start us off.
All right, sounds good, thank you. Report is attached to the agenda. Our construction crew has started our construction season. They're currently working on Plover Street. The limits of the project is from First to Apricot. We're currently working in the intersection of from 3rd Street to 1st Street, mostly in the intersection of 2nd Street here now, the latter part of this week. For this part of the project, we've removed all of the pavement, curb and gutter, sidewalk, and have installed 260 feet approximately of 12-inch water main. And now here this last week, we have been working on the sanitary from 3rd to 1st. Other than that, construction projects, we have removed the trees from 14th Avenue and McKinley Street, which would be the next projects coming forward. As far as our street maintenance goes, Water and Light had still in the month of April a few water main breaks that we helped out on. The Parks Department traditionally takes down the trees for us or whatever because they have trained arborists, and so it was kind of a joint crew that did a lot of that work. We also assisted them in cleaning up their different landscaping areas within the right-of-way and the parks. Continued to cold patch streets there earlier in the month of April, but then here the last 3 weeks we've been really concentrating with the warmer weather of putting in a mastic patch. Mastic is a product that is kind of a mixture between a patch and then a rubberized crack filler. It expands and contracts with the fluctuation of the temperature, and so we were out on A Street trying to put that so that we have to not do so much maintenance work out there here for the next couple of years until we can reconstruct it. We also, engineering department started on the curb and gutter and sidewalk maintenance, and so we've been working with Summers Construction, the contractor for that, going through and preparing the asphalt for doing the restoration work and things like that once that's completed. We also completed some sanitary repairs for wastewater treatment plant where there was some residential sanitary that was not working very well. Again, went through and finished up with the restoration projects from restoration of projects that were completed last fall. Those are, the list is in there, but Redden Road sanitary manhole, the downtown bridge lighting project, pickleball courts that the Parks Department is doing over at the Mead Field. Also at Mead Field, there was an addition of a playground, some playground equipment to the splash pad, and then our Wiley Street construction project that was completed last fall. We fixed the snowplow damage that occurred here in March. Also got the compost sites ready to go. Finished completing the highways and the islands and the paved boulevards. We started a project for the fire department in redoing their parking lot, and that the pavement was completed on that yesterday. And then also across the street here, we have the Dixon Hotel parking lot ripped out right now, with the hopes of that being paved tomorrow. Kind of did some restoration work of the gravel roads. When the frost comes out of there, they start to get uneven, so we got those shaped as well as our gravel alleys. The sign shop is kind of busy cleaning up the projects that this committee has approved. We installed the remainder of the parking ordinance signs that we've had, as well as the school zone on the north side of Woodside on Cook Street, some directional signs for the farmer's market, as well as repairing the damaged signs that happened over the winter months that we needed to put new signposts in and things like that now that the frost is out. Our shop here in the month of April worked on, just standard maintenance of things as well. And then switching over from winter to summer activities, removing all this different snow equipment and things like that. Also, my last note there of the report, we have an employee that is retiring next Tuesday, May 13th. Dan Fink started his employment with the City of Rapids on July 10th of 2008. He has filled many different jobs within the city, from common labor to truck driver to 5-yard truck driver. He's also served as a relief operator on the garbage trucks, recycling trucks, and then the sweeper. So he's worked for the City of Rapids just shy of 17 years. And he is going to enjoy retirement now, starting next Tuesday. So we will be working on filling that position with our HR department. And that's all that I have.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions, comments?
I've got a comment and a question, I guess. My comment is for Dan Fink. I appreciate him putting in the time and effort through the years. It's hard to find good, loyal people that are willing to fill different positions as needed, and I wish him all the best in retirement. I'm sure he deserves it. The question I have, you said something about paving Dixon Street parking lot tomorrow. I was told the construction crews work a 4-day work week. Is that in effect right now, or?
Yeah, the construction crew started this year with the first week that we started on Plover Street, correct?
Okay, so, but they're working tomorrow, you said, on paving this. Are they not the construction crew, or?
No, so the paving is done by American Asphalt, which is a contracted service.
Sure.
So
okay,
it's not our staff there.
Yeah, I just thought that I would kind of like to clear that up a little bit.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I also noticed one item on the streets maintenance that doesn't necessarily get called out, but should be heavily appreciated. There's a lot of cleanup after winter. And as somebody who walks outside and enjoys our walkways and bike alleys, I appreciate the time that our streets department puts into cleaning up broken sidewalk and curb and making sure that our walking pathways are cleaned and swept and available for pedestrians and bikers. So thank you. And happy retirement, Dan. With no other comments, we'll move on to the engineering. Joe?
Thank you. So for the month of April, permits and licenses doubled last month, so definitely hitting the spring, summer months here with a lot of construction activity, things going on in the city's right-of-way, along with 344 diggers hotline locates, which is a big jump compared to last month. So that'll continue here for the next few months as we go through the construction season. One correction on the degradation fees. The fees for the month of April were $21,606, and the total is what's in the report for $66,141. So a typo there in creating the report, but wanted to point that out. With our contracts, sidewalk and curb and gutter maintenance, as Paul has stated, is well underway. We've got an inspector from the engineering department working with the contractor, keeping track of their quantities and marking out locations. In addition, the sidewalk cutting efforts by Safe Step, I believe they are now complete or very near complete. So that activity is already wrapping up for the construction season. For other projects coming to completion from a design perspective, the Zoo Otter exhibit, bids were open for that project on April 28th. and brought before the Finance Committee here in the month of May. Beginning work on the Second Street North design. That's 2026 construction, as well as the East Jackson Street project, also scheduled for 2026. Skipping ahead a little bit, this is kind of already into May, but we did start the 1 Mile Creek Dam repair project. That began this week on Monday. It's going to be a very short project in duration. By the middle of next week, expect them to be done with their work there. We've also completed the Apricot Street preliminary survey. That'll also be a 2026 project, so we're getting that into the design queue to have that plan set put together. And then likely going to 13th Avenue next for the next survey. On April 22nd, the city hosted the DOT public information meeting for the A Street South DOT project, which is proposed in 2028. It was both earlier in the day in the afternoon was a business meeting, followed by just a general public information meeting in the evening. There were a couple glitches that we've been working through on the bridge lighting project regarding the programming, and we believe all those issues are remedied at this point, so the IT staff are able to program those light shows appropriately, and the expectations and confidence is building in using that software and getting the programs out there. So we'll be closing out that contract. And with that, that concludes our monthly report. Thank you.
Any questions for Joe on the engineering report?
I've got a comment here. Your construction crew has been working in front of my house for about the last week and a half, cutting sidewalk, knocking curb out, and they poured the curb there today, Summers, and a lot of city employees. Them guys are professional. They have communicated it with my wife. This is what we're doing. This is when we're going to do it. You can expect this driveway to kind of be cluttered for a day or two. So they were very good communicating what was happening, when it was going to happen. They poured the concrete today, like I had said. And there was one of your engineers, a girl by the name of Sherry. She come around and had a nice conversation with us today about 2 o'clock, wanting to know how we felt about things, how we thought things worked. Just very, very good communication to let people know what to expect and if there's anything more we can do for you. You know, and nobody knew that I was on the council, which I thought was kind of good. That means everybody's getting the same information. So, I mean, that again, hats off to your people. They're doing their job, and, you know, it's good to see that.
Thank you. Glad to hear it.
All right, with no other comments, we'll move on to item 3. Consider an ordinance to amend Chapter 27 parking to add 10 permit parking stalls to the Market Square lot.
So as you recall, this item was brought up initially here last month, and we weren't able to put together the ordinance document to amend that, but that's why we brought it back this month. So this is just a formulation of the action that the committee already took last month. And so the ordinance amendment is included in the packet there. I guess if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Just one question, are the fees going to remain the same then, or are they going to be looked at, or?
That's actually will be taken up here next item, I think.
No, okay, yep, thank you.
No questions, comments on this item? Got a motion? All right, we have a motion by Penscover, second by Pollock. All those in favor? Aye. 3 ayes, 0 nays. Moving on to item 4, consider a resolution to set permit parking fee.
So again, this was taken up last month, and the resolution was formulated here. Bring it back to the committee to get to council, but it does adjust the fee down to the motion that was set last month to $100 per permit, plus the $4 charge for the decal.
Questions, concerns on the committee?
We were at like 157 or so, weren't we?
Pardon me?
What was the previous number on the permit?
I believe it was, yeah, either 100, I think it was 156.
156,
Yep.
okay. So we're lowering it by 57.
And this applies to all permit stalls, including the ones that we sell out every year.
Yes, yep,
Great.
all of them.
Then I will make a motion to approve the yearly permit fee as written in the resolution.
I'll second that.
Motion by Palmquist, second by Penscover. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, 3-0. Moving on to item 5, review and consider preliminary resolution for public work and improvements on 2nd Street North from East Jackson Street to Market Street in 2026. Joe?
So the draft of the preliminary resolution is included in the packet. It does identify the parcels adjacent to the proposed improvement, and we use the preliminary resolution for 2 primary purposes. One, to notify all the adjacent property owners, and then of the proposed upcoming improvement, and then also to begin using engineering department resources towards survey and data gathering and preparing for the design of that future improvement. And this 2nd Street project is coupled with the East Jackson Street reconstruct project.
Any questions, concerns from committee? This does fall within our TID district boundary.
It does, yep.
Okay. I know we talked at Property and Finance about using some funds from that, if possible, so that they don't expire, which means this item could this item possibly come up and be worked on sooner than 2026?
As far as construction goes, it'll probably get tied with the construction with East Jackson, but certainly that 2027 deadline for the expenditure period, yeah, we're definitely shooting to be done, have everything wrapped up with the project by then.
Okay. No other questions, comments? We got a motion?
I would make a motion to review and consider a preliminary resolution for public work and improvements on 2nd Street North from East Jackson Street to Market Street in 2026.
Got a motion by Penscover, second by Pollock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, 3-0. Item passes. Item 6, review and consider preliminary resolution for public work and improvements on 3rd Street North from Spring Street to Cherry Street in 2026.
So a slight correction on the date, at least on the agenda item. It is proposed in the capital improvement plan and identified that way on the referral document as 2027. The preliminary resolution itself, which is really the item that's being considered, doesn't have a date specified in it, but I just wanted to point that out. But again, this is utility and roadway reconstruction project. It's a 1-block project. There was some stormwater I guess, catch basin drain additions that we put in. Currently, the street is a rural cross-section. There's maybe some shallow ditches, swales along the edge of the roadway, but doesn't have curb and gutter, and it didn't drain real well. So we added some drains here last fall, I think it was, Paul, and proposed in the current capital improvement plan to look at doing a reconstruction of this block in 2027.
Does the reconstruction include having complete curb and gutter?
Yeah,
Okay.
the rebuild will have new utilities, curb and gutter. It'll look just like 99% of all the other streets in town.
Perfect. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right. I will make a motion to approve the preliminary resolution for public work and improvements on 3rd Street North from Spring Street to Cherry Street in 2027.
I'll second that.
Motion by Palmquist, second by Penscover. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 3-0. Item 7, review and consider removing the sidewalk adjacent to the property at 1240 14th Street North.
So this property is within the sidewalk and curb maintenance area for 2025, and all of the sidewalk and curb in the entire area has been previously inspected. Last summer sometime we did the inspections, and this section of sidewalk isn't connected to sidewalk that continues. There's no network of sidewalk adjacent to this corner on 14th Street and Norton Street. And there are some sections of sidewalk in there that you know are in a condition that would warrant removal and replacement. But rather than investing funds in that, we have communicated with the property owner. In fact, they reached out to us as well, that we'd propose to remove that sidewalk, put in topsoil and seed that, rather than continuing to have sidewalk that isn't connected and isn't planned to be connected to a sidewalk network in the future, as a better use of funds.
Questions from the committee?
I would make that motion to review and consider removing the sidewalk adjacent to the property at 1240 14th Street North.
And to clarify, we're approving the removal of the sidewalk?
Yeah,
All right, I'll second. Motion by Palmquist, or motion by Penscover, second by Palmquist. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Ayes have it, 3-0. Item 8, review and consider removing sidewalk adjacent to the property at 1141 16th Street North and 1131 16th Street North.
So again, this is within the sidewalk curb maintenance area for 2025. A similar sort of situation where we do have sidewalk in there that in this, I guess, two property distance here, about 100 feet of sidewalk that isn't connected to anything, any other network of sidewalk. And we're proposing that the sidewalk be removed rather than reinvesting funds in removing and replacing panels.
Did you also speak with these property owners?
These, so I had instructed our inspector to check in with them. I don't recall if she was able to get a hold of them, but certainly an effort was made. But I can't confirm if she was able to get in contact with them or not.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just have one question. Have you looked at any future sidewalks going in these neighborhoods? I would think that with people walking and what have you, that
Yeah.
well, they probably have to walk in the streets or.
So based on our current ordinance that the city has for sidewalk, these streets would not otherwise normally have sidewalk on them, as far as a future plan. So there isn't any foreseen need at this time to continue sidewalk further in any direction from the existing sidewalk that's out there. But it does bring up a bigger item for discussion at some point about like a city sidewalk plan, and having something that takes what's identified in writing in the ordinance, but applies it to an entire map, similar to the city's official street map, where there's some, I guess, further intentionality with where sidewalks should go and where it shouldn't go. Namely that you might have, say for instance, 16th Street North, that maybe it's a pedestrian route between, say, a school and a city park. And, you know, it's a known route, but yet it's not a school route, it's not along a street that's a certain road classification. It wouldn't otherwise, based upon the context written in the ordinance, necessarily require sidewalk be installed, but there's an actual need there. So there's, I guess, you know, a broader discussion that maybe could happen at some point.
Well, I know the city is kind of scattered with situations like this that don't have sidewalks, and there are people that then end up walking in the street. And I know at one time in the past, the city, I know it's all expensive, but there were people, the committee had a sidewalk budget, and that was kind of eliminated, I think, a number of years ago. But I was just curious whether or not your department was looking at somewhere in the future of continuing some of these sidewalks in the city.
Yeah, some have been historically over the number of years now. I mean, we've extended sidewalk on 10th Street and is it Goodnow? Some sections of roadway that, you know, pedestrians were present on, and you know, it was determined that we should have just a sidewalk project here. I think on 12th Street as well. You know, to continue some of the sidewalk network that should have sidewalk there, and we've put in capital improvement projects to do that.
Okay, Joe, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments? All right. I will make a motion to approve removing the sidewalk adjacent to the property at 1141 16th Street North and 1131 16th Street North.
I'll second that. I would feel a little better if we had that information after you talk to the residences there, but
And what I can do is, following up before council, I can find out if we've already talked to them, and if we haven't, if we've attempted, and just haven't, we'll try again. If we haven't made contact with them, and get that information to the
let's
committee.
just cover our bases on that.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Got a motion by Palmquist, second by Penscover. All those in favor?
Aye.
Guys have it 3-0. Item 9, review and consider a preliminary resolution for public work and improvements on 12th Street North, Baker Street to Franklin Street in 2026.
Thank you. So this is, again, part of the 5-year capital improvement plan. Again, I apologize for the typo. It's scheduled for, it's in the plan for 2027. This is a reconstruction project primarily based on, well, the road condition, but also the underground utilities are aged and at a point that they need to be improved and replaced. And it's a 4-block project, or 3-block project, excuse me, coupled with the next item, which will be another 2 blocks to the east of here. But otherwise, we're recommending approval of the preliminary resolution.
Questions, comments from the committee? entertain a motion.
I would make that motion to review and consider preliminary resolution for public work and improvements on 12th Street North, Baker Street to Franklin in 2026.
I'll second it.
Correct. The agenda says 2026, the document says 2027. We all on board with 2027?
We're on board for 2027, correct?
Dennis?
Yeah.
Great. We've got a motion by Penscover, second by Pollock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes
Good
have it,
catch,
3-0.
Madam Chairwoman.
The next item is to review and consider a preliminary resolution for public work improvements on Franklin Street from 12th Street North to 14th Street North in 2027.
So as a continuation to the 12th Street North project, as I mentioned, this will also be a street reconstruction project for the same reasons, road condition and underground, the age and condition of the underground infrastructure. Again, for 2027 is the proposed date in the capital improvement plan. And then this should be the last preliminary resolution for quite some time. This sets us up for continuing on with survey and whatnot for the design pipeline, I guess, to stay ahead of things. But within the next month, we'll have all of these notices put together for all of the preliminary resolutions and out to the adjacent property owners so that they're noticed of the upcoming project.
Any comments, questions from the committee? I do have one. I know it's been a while since we reviewed the master plan for road and street improvements, and I have gotten a number of questions about particular streets. Can you quickly describe how we select these streets to be improved for which year?
So it's kind of twofold. The selection or identification of which streets, and then identifying which year that they can, get allocated towards or allocated in. There's what we call the perfect project, which is kind of loosely defined as the road condition is at a point in time where the pavement structure is at end of life, and then also all of the underground utilities are at a significant age and condition that they also need replacement. And so when we get the three utilities, storm sewer, sanitary sewer, water main, and then the road surface, all needing to be done at the same time, it's kind of the best sort of project because we're getting the most value out of it, and we're accomplishing a high priority type of project. Not all of those, not all of our projects can align that way. But then when we get to identifying those, either through routine inspections or records that the utilities have for their condition of their infrastructure due to breaks or failures or televising reports, between Paul and I, we usually start to sift through some of those and look at the current 5-year plan, and then we put a draft together and bring that into the Public Works Committee and, propose a plan. One thing I can say with our current plan is usually about 2 years out, well, within the first year or two, the project list is, it's heavy. We've got a lot of projects identified that when we get to the very next year, so like for 2026 projects, some of those, we may find through scoping and preliminary design work that the scope of those projects, is a bit more involved, more than we could maybe accomplish in a construction season. And so maybe if we have 6 projects identified for 2026, maybe 1 or 2 of those might slide into 2027. And then every year, there's always a project or 2 that continues to get slid back. But I don't know if that answers some of your question.
It does. Very
Okay,
detailed.
great.
Thank you. No other comments, questions? Do we have a motion?
I would make that motion to review and consider a preliminary resolution for public work and improvements on Franklin Street from 12th Street North to 14th Street North in 2027.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Ayes have it, 3-0. Up next is to review the referral list. Looks like we have a new referral from March that was added. Any updates or changes on the remaining items or additional items to add? All right, then we will set the next meeting date, typically the first Thursday after the first Tuesday, which would land on June 5th. June 5th, council chambers at 5 p.m. Does that work? Objections by the committee? Everybody's, all right, our next meeting date is June 5th, 5 p.m., council chambers.
You said June 6th on a Friday?
I'm sorry, 5th, June 5. Last item, adjournment.
I'd move to adjourn.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. Ayes have it, 3-0. Meeting adjourns at 5:36 p.m. Thank you.